The 2010s were packed with fantasy TV. Werewolves, witches, fairy tale reboots, superheroes. Every network was chasing the next big pop culture phenomenon. But here's the twist. Some of the most interesting fantasy shows of the decade never actually made it to air. These weren't just pitches or scripts either. They were fully filmed pilots, finished and ready to go, only to be shelved before audiences ever got the chance to fall in love. So in this video, we're digging up the lost fantasy pilots of the 2010s, the ones with cool concepts, strong casts, and serious "this really could have worked" energy. And to keep things organized, we're going from oldest to newest in our lineup of forgotten almost hits. Locke Key. Before Netflix finally cracked Locke Key in 2020, Fox actually shot a fully produced pilot all the way back in 2011. This version leaned way harder into the gothic horror vibes of Joe Hill's comics. The story followed the Locke family as they moved into Key House, a sprawling mansion filled with magical keys that unlock impossible powers and open dangerous doors best left closed. The pilot was moody, atmospheric, and visually stunning, with that horror meets YA drama tone long before that was a thing. Critics loved it when it screened at Comic-Con. Fox, however, did not. They passed, and the pilot became legend, the kind fans whisper about like a ghost of TV that could have been. 17th Precinct. With 17th Precinct, NBC tried to reinvent the police procedural by setting it in a world where magic replaced science. So detectives solved crimes using spells and protected themselves with magic discs. The show starred several familiar Battlestar Galactica faces, since it was created by BSG's Ronald D. Moore, and it seamlessly blended procedural storytelling with masterful urban fantasy world-building. It had a strong cast, a genuinely imaginative world, and a tone that was very serious magic cop rather than campy fun. But in 2011, networks were still nervous about fantasy on TV, so NBC passed, and fantasy fans have been mourning what could have been ever since. Wonder Woman. The 2011 Wonder Woman pilot is one of the most infamous almosts in superhero TV history. NBC handed the project to Ally McBeal creator David E. Kelley and cast Adrienne Palicki as Diana, and honestly, she looked fantastic in the role. The show reimagined Wonder Woman as a corporate CEO by day and crime-fighting vigilante by night, and also sometimes just regular woman trying to have a personal life. The tone was all over the place, and fans also really didn't love the costume. So NBC took one look at the pilot and said, no thanks. It never aired, but the curiosity around it has never really died. Mockingbird Lane. Mockingbird Lane was NBC's attempt to reboot The Munsters, but instead of sitcom vibes, this version went full stylish horror comedy. Brian Fuller, the mind behind Hannibal and Pushing Daisies, reimagined the monster family as gothic, moody, and surprisingly heartfelt. It looked incredible. Sleek creature design, lavish sets, expensive makeup effects, and a killer cast. And the tone walked this perfect line between funny and darkly gruesome. NBC originally ordered it as a pilot with plans for a full series, but ultimately got spooked by how expensive it would have been to produce weekly. So instead, it was aired once as a Halloween special, leaving us with one excellent hour of what could have been. The Sixth Gun. Gunslingers plus dark powers plus cursed artifacts? Yes, please. Based on the cult comic series, The Sixth Gun was a supernatural western ordered by NBC. It centered on 6 magical revolvers, each with their own otherworldly powers, and the people destined to wield them. The pilot, starring Laura Ramsey and Pedro Pascal, brought in creepy imagery, dusty frontier vibes, and mythical lore. But in 2013, fantasy westerns still scared networks. So although the pilot tested decently, the execs passed on it. Cut to 2016 when Westworld blew up and everyone collectively went, oh, right, maybe audiences would have watched that. Gothica. ABC's Gothica tried to be Penny Dreadful before Penny Dreadful existed. The series mashed together literary horror legends, Frankenstein, Dracula, Dorian Gray, and others, and reimagined them in a stylish modern setting full of mystery, secrets, and dark romance. Think Once Upon a Time, but if everyone was tragic, seductive, or possibly immortal. The pilot starred Janet Montgomery and Tom Ellis and had a moody, gothic noir visual style, but ABC couldn't quite decide how dark they wanted the show to be. It ended up in tonal limbo, and the network quietly shelved it. Timing is everything, and this one hit just a year too early. Zombieland. After the success of the Zombieland movie, Amazon tried to launch a Zombieland TV series using an all-new cast. And let's just say, fans were not having it. The show kept the same characters, but the humor lost some of its bite without the original actors. The pilot was still in the movie's spirit, goofy road trip zombie survival set 2 months after the movie, but the recasting backlash was so strong that Amazon canceled the entire series after the pilot's online release. The wild part? The writers said the fan hate was so intense, it essentially hated the show out of existence. The selection. In the early 2010s, the CW was fully chasing the next Hunger Games, and The Selection had the potential to be exactly that. Based on the YA book series by Kira Cass, the show mixed dystopian science fiction, romance competition drama, and royal intrigue. Think The Bachelor, but the winner marries the prince of a futuristic monarchy, while the working class rages outside palace walls. The network actually produced 2 different pilots, one in 2012 starring Amy Teagarden, and the other in 2013 starring Yael Grobglas. Neither version clicked for the network. Ironically, just a few years later, The Bachelor itself exploded in cultural relevance again. Timing, man. Delirium. Yet another YA dystopia that just missed the trend wave. Based on Lauren Oliver's novel, Delirium imagined a world where love is classified as a dangerous disease, and everyone receives a surgery at 18 to remove the ability to feel it. So when 2 teens fall for each other months before the procedure, full-on forbidden romance rebellion. The pilot starred Emma Roberts, Billy Campbell, and Greg Sulkin. It had a strong premise and teen rebellion energy, but by 2014, the YA dystopia boom was already fading. Fox passed, and the pilot leaked online years later, where fans immediately called it underrated. Honorable mentions. Not every fantasy pilot of the 2010s made as big a splash online, but these still deserve a nod in the Forgotten Pilots Hall of Fame. Heavenly was the CW's attempt at a supernatural legal drama. It followed a young lawyer who teams up with a former angel to tackle court cases at a legal aid clinic. It never made it past the pilot. Spark was NBC's shot at a steampunk adventure world. It had rival families, political intrigue, and clockwork tech. Ambitious, but too weird for network primetime in 2016. And then there's Marvel's New Warriors, the show that filmed a full pilot, tested through the roof, and still never aired. Network reshuffling buried it, making it the holy grail of lost superhero TV. Transylvania. Set in 1880s Eastern Europe, Transylvania followed Victoria, a young American woman searching for her missing father in a spooky monster-filled city where legends like Dracula and Frankenstein's monster are not just myths, they're neighbors. The CW clearly wanted a gothic adventure procedural, and the atmosphere was definitely there. Dark alleys, creepy fog, torches. The pilot starred Laura Brent and featured Luke Allen Gale as a disgraced Scotland Yard detective. But the network was shifting hard towards superhero TV at the time, and Transylvania just didn't fit the brand anymore. Another wrong place, wrong time casualty. Did we miss a 2010s fantasy pilot you still think about at 3 a.m.? Drop it in the comments. And while you're there, you'll also find info on where you can watch most of these lost episodes for yourself. Check out TVShowPilot.com for more deep dives into TV history, and make sure to subscribe to the TV Show Pilot YouTube channel for more videos just like this.